Well, first of all, I think fathers will have a great time reading my book. I think it's a lot of fun. It's really funny. There's a lot of wild stories and things that happened in Ukraine as we were adopting our two boys. But I think they'll learn a lot about God's faithfulness. You really kind of place yourself at the mercy of a lot of people when you adopt internationally. It's risky. It's difficult. But it's a really good process, and it's a way to really see God work tangibly in your life. And the two boys that we've adopted from Ukraine are a huge blessing. And as a father, there's nothing I enjoy more than my two sons. I learned how awesome my wife was. I learned her huge capacity for patience with me. Unfortunately, I wasn't always a picture-perfect husband during our adoptions in Ukraine, but my wife was loving, she was forgiving, she had a great sense of humor. We laughed together, we cried together. Apparently I cry a lot in the book, which really isn't the image that I want to project right now, but apparently I do cry a lot in the book, and it was a very vulnerable time, but a very good time for the two of us. So a little note for wives. I feel like my wife was the star of this book. If I was the antagonist at times, she was the protagonist. She was the good guy in the book. And I learned so much about my wife through this process. And one of the things I appreciated so much about her was her willingness when we were in Ukraine to let me know how to love her better. And there were times and experiences we had and things that I learned about her that I'd never known before. There was a time in particular where I was so focused on protecting my wife and protecting my son, and I felt like everything was a threat. So I would walk in front of her on the sidewalk. And when we got back to our flat that night, our little apartment, she told me, when you walk in front of me on the sidewalk, it makes me feel like you don't love me. And it really floored me, and it was something that I hadn't even thought about, and I was so wrapped up in protecting them and trying to make sure that everything worked out perfectly that I wasn't loving my wife very well. And guys, be prepared to learn more about your wives through this, and to learn more about your relationship, to learn about ways that you can grow. Wives, pray for your husbands in this. They'll be vulnerable in ways that they never have before. They'll be challenged in ways that they never have before, and they need your love and they need your prayers. When you travel internationally, bring lots of DVDs, bring lots of great music. My iPod and my laptop were a great comfort to me at times. Be prepared to spend lots of great time with your wife, talking, praying, being real with each other. This process, more than anything else we've experienced in our marriage, really brought us closer together. So be prepared for that. That'll be a great blessing that grows out of it. Be prepared to be challenged. You'll be challenged in ways physically, mentally, and emotionally that you've never been challenged before. You'll be vulnerable in ways that you've never been before. When you travel internationally, many of the things that you rely on here, like for me, my communication ability. I mean, in Ukraine, I'm not cool, I'm not funny, I'm not articulate, and over there you're vulnerable. And it's a great chance to really put your money where your mouth is in terms of relying on the Lord and just abiding in Him every day for your comfort, for your peace, and for your happiness.